Here we go again. Shabbat Shalom. Isn't it interesting what's happening in Syria? Their new president, former terrorist, put a suit on him and now he's a terrorist. Leopard can't change his skin. Lipstick on a pig is still a pig. And the leopard could change his skin. It isn't going to happen as fast as the transgender can transition. But the Western world thinks what? This Mohammed al-Julani is all of a sudden westernized. You know anything about the Sunnis and Shiites? You know how they grew up? You know what they're taught? Since they're 2 years old, what to believe about the infidel, what to believe about the Jew. Think that's going to change because Assad has left Syria? They just massacred 2,400. I'm sorry, we don't know the number. 2,400 or more Alamites. The area of Tarsus, like St. Paul, ancient Cilicia, Antioch, the Marithian religion, blood drinkers. The Alamites, not necessarily lovers of Israel, but they're not trying to take us down. But the new leadership, Assad was a brutal leader. There's always that brutal capacity due to the caliphate in Islam, Sunnis and Shias. And then the minorities within the country, like the Christians, the Druids, who actually are being somewhat a vassal of Israel, protected. That minority group that's against this new leadership in Syria, Mohammed al-Julani. They were fighting for their independence, trying to push back against this radical Islamist, fascist ISIS group, murdering babies, women, children, the elderly, without mercy. Saddam did similarly, didn't he? Idi Amin, the Houthis, Hezbollah, the Muslim Brotherhood, Boko Haram in Africa, the ADF, Sub-Saharan Africa, they just massacred in early February 100 or more people. They're always killing thousands in the Christian villages. You hear about that? In the Congo, did you hear about that? The Christians that are constantly running for their lives, hacked them up in pieces and hammered them to death in church, by the way, in a church building. That was February. Does anybody care about what's happening with the Alamites in Syria, the Druids and the Christians that they're murdering? In the name of Allah, really? You don't fear God. You have no fear of God. If you did, you would know what's about to happen to you. You don't have to worry about the MI6 or Mossad, the KGB, the CIA, the NSA, the FBI, Black Ops, the Special Forces. All of the things that you're taught to fear men and their intelligentsia and their secret mercenary groups from France or the United Nations, really? They're a bunch of Boy Scouts in the UN anyway. Do you fear God or do you fear man? Man is very limited in what he can do. His counterintelligence, his surveillance, his Iron Dome, his javelin missiles, his rocks, very limited. The earth is about to swallow you up, Mohammed al-Julani. And all of your vassals and allied partners around the world, like the Democratic Party in the Washington, D.C., that house with that Democratic On the other side of the aisle, haters of God, murderers of the unborn. All you liberal Ivy League do-gooders who don't do good at all. Did you remember? Evil can only prosper when good men do nothing, but not necessarily true. Evil prospers until God has had enough. Adonai, the Lord Zavarot, Hashem Elohim. You don't have to worry about a nation, I know. They're limited in what they can do, because they only act when they're obedient, but God will act, and he doesn't need them. King Asa found that out. King David found that out. Your number's coming up. You will be judged. It doesn't matter if you're in Africa or Europe or the United States. Murdering the unborn. Poisoning your own citizens, Stalin. Lynching and hanging innocent from the trees. Trafficking people. Enslaving them. You have no fear of God, Adonai? There's X marks the spot. You are in the crosshairs of God's target. His scope is on you. And don't worry, he doesn't need a missile. He'll use a fly. He'll use a bug. He'll use the earth to swallow you up. You should remember that while men are limited and pathetic, complacent, and apathetic, God is not. We weep for those who've lost their lives at the hand of evil so mercilessly. But I do not weep for you who are soon to be judged for having been an instrument of evil against the Lord, his shalom, his land, and his people. Judgment is coming. Mark your calendar.